let's talk about Last Regiment. So, what have we done up lately? We updated all relevant systems, mechanics, input, AI to recognize and support the new foundation structure system. Eh? What's that, man? So, one thing that we noticed, and this is going to be easier to describe if I go into the game. Let me go to the game. So click on the bird. All right, so you see this foundation here. Now, internally, and this is the kind of stuff that you wonder why it takes forever to make games, and you're like, why don't you just do the stuff? All right, well, sometimes you got to go redo stuff because you did stuff wrong. So it used to be the case that when I wanted to put one of these little foundations down, right, I had to. This is better shown in the editor. Let me go to the editor and show you there. All right, so here I am in the editor. All right, and I want to put down a foundation. Now, it used to be the case that to put down a foundation, I had a tile that I would put down a tile for the foundation. And this created a whole bunch of weirdnesses in the way that things work. So we rebuilt that to make it so that instead of putting down a tile, I actually just put down a foundation, which should be available to me here in the buildings where, there it is, the settlement right there, boom. So now I can take this settlement and I can stick it anywhere I want. And I can put it on top of other terrains and stuff like that, which actually makes the sorting of the terrain and the layering a lot more reasonable. But the big thing it does for me is it means that later on, if I want to go put a different building on top of it, let's say this tower, it replaces that with the tower. So I don't still have those little rocks and stuff down there, which is what it used to be. It used to be when I put the rocks and stuff down, if I put a tower on top of it, the rocks and shit would still be there, which doesn't make sense. I got rid of the rocks and shit. I built a tower there. Now, the astute amongst you may have noticed there's something new here. Anyone? Anyone notice what's new? Bueller? All right, in case you didn't notice, what there is there's suddenly some information on these buildings. And this information is the next big change that we did. And this was not actually my idea. This was, I think Ben was the one who started this. Thanks, Ben, for adding a week to our schedule that I didn't plan on. But anyway, let's put down this big fortress as a good example. So we had already had in the game the concept of fortification points. And fortification points means that if I stick a unit inside of one of these buildings, that unit will actually get the benefit of being fortified inside of a building. During the game, you would see, when that little guy was there, you'll see a little +5 right here pop up. Doesn't show up in the editor, but it shows up in the game. Note for Nelson, it sure would be nice if that showed up in the editor. But that means if I start attacking him, he'll have an extra 5 hit points that I have to chew through before I can kill him. And somebody said, and by somebody I mean Ben, Ben said, you know what? What if we actually made it so that when you start attacking the buildings have hit points so that you can actually destroy the building, and makes more sense because otherwise, like, the building never gets hurt. Even though I'm sitting and I'm like shooting bombs at it all day, how come the building never gets hurt? And so we've done that. So as you can see, the building right now has 75 of its structure points, right? So it can take 75 structure points before it gets damagified, right? And as long as this thing is not damaged, I will still receive my +5 fortification bonus if I happen to be in it. Let's go back to the main game and I will show you this in action. All right. Yeah, so someone's noticing that those structure points are ridiculously strong. That has been noticed, and in fact, it's being changed right now. We just finally got this working yesterday, and the programmer just put in some values because he was like, I need to put something in to test it. These are totally placeholder values. Nelson right now is actually furiously fixing this. When I repatch this to play it later, hopefully it'll be lower. It's not supposed to be that high. So here you can see, I got a character. She is in this town, and because she happens to be hanging out in town is giving her a +5 fortification bonus. So if I click on this and I click on the village, you can see the village. We should have the information listed here, but it's not listed here. Later on, the information will be listed here. I will know that that village has a certain number of hit points, because the problem is, one of the problems is when I'm sitting on the building, I don't know how many hit points the building has because I'm sitting on it. We're still trying to figure that kind of stuff out. But theoretically, it'll be written down there. But you can see, aha, when I'm not there, that building gives me a +5 fortification bonus, and it has a redonkulous number of hit points. So that's a thing. So that's a new thing that we added. This is literally brand new. I haven't actually played a game with that functioning. So today you'll watch me play the game for the first time with that functioning. So that's cool. That's a new thing that we've done. Other things that we have done. Implemented neutral structures. This is an internal thing that we had to do because we now have settlements. Like when we first did it with the settlements as a building, you had to actually capture the settlement, and that was ridiculous. It sucked. So we had to make it so those could be neutral and anyone could build on them. That was a thing we had to do. Implement constants table. This does not sound exciting, but it is exciting. We have a huge data sheet. The data sheet has all the data for all the stuff in the game. Some of you have seen me play with it before. We've added a new piece to that table, which is a whole bunch of just stuff that Adrian had hard-coded, like, you know, what's the value of the road and stuff like that. He had just put it in code, and I was like, damn it, Adrian, that's in code. I can't change that. And so he's made me a table where all that stuff is. So there's that. What else have we been up to? Hey, we finally fixed the mystery bug for the stealth meeples. Yay! I'll test that today and make sure that's actually fixed. And then, this is actually something I'm quite proud of. If I go back out here and I start looking at the setting up a regiment, you'll notice this has changed. I think there's still a little bit more work to be done with the user interface, but if you look, I can now, well, in theory, I'm supposed to be able to click on these, and that will actually move me from each one of the different heroes. So now, building your regiment, there's actually 2 pages. It's a little Hearthstone-y, but I'm all right with it. So the first page is, all right, I want to see, and these will go away later because we don't need these on the heroes page because we have this. So this replaces that, something Ben hasn't done yet. Hi, Ben. So anyway, theoretically, I would press here, which would have actually been one of these, which says show me Teresia. Teresia has the Guildmaster Silvio. And if I decide to put Guildmaster Silvio as my dude, why can I not get rid of that? All right, if I put Silvio as my dude, now I have these 4 cards available. You will also notice when I go over here, those 4 cards are also visible here, as well as all the other cards. And theoretically later, instead of nothing happening when I click these, I'll be able to sort my cards. And so, for instance, if I want to see all the beasts and highborn and woodspawn who are ships, then I can sort out and it can show me all those cards. So we have the sorting, filtering system. Right now, honestly, we don't have that many cards. So it's not really necessary. But later when we have more cards and as we add more cards, this will become a useful feature. But even right now, it's kind of a nice feature because, like, let's say, for instance, I decide I don't want Silvio. Let's say I decide I want, where is, here's Tristan. And you'll note Tristan has this cool ability. He can actually give cavalry benefits. And so, all right, now I know I got this guy that gives cavalry benefits. I want to go and see all the cavalry units. And I can click on cavalry and it'll show me all the cavalry units. And I'd be like, oh, these are the guys I want to bring for Tristan. So it's kind of a cool thing. Question, what is your target total number of cards across all factions? Still something we're working on. I don't have a distinct answer. I can't say like 77. Like, I don't know exactly right now. At the moment, we have, I think, what, 8 heroes? And I didn't think 8 heroes was that much, but it turns out 8 heroes is quite a few heroes. I'm probably going to add, before we ship, 2 or 3 more heroes with 4 more cards each. But what I'm mostly going to do is add more mercenary units. I think I find that the mercenary units are nice because they give me a lot more options to trade, and you know, this one with that one, and oh, what's it like if I bring Tristan with the artillery spiders versus Tristan with a whatever. I'm kind of putting together a list lately based on when I play, what do I miss? What do I wish I had more of? For instance, one of the things I really noticed we have a shortage of is I don't have very many constructs. And I've got some nice abilities for like repair construct or update constructs and stuff like that. So I want to put more constructs in the game. So that's what we've done recently. That's all the updates and whatnot. Merlin is asking, do I have a target date for earlier access? I am hoping April. That's my hope. That's my current hope is April. I think we're very quickly reaching the point where we can do earlier access. I want to get a couple more campaign missions done. So my hope is early April. So that's that. My hope for actual early access for this game, early summer. That's where we are right now.